There are things in this world that, if no one told you about them, would seem made up, or like something out of a crazy movie script. But no, they're real. Our planet is huge, and there are countries that simply defy logic when it comes to curiosity. Want an example? There is a place in Africa called Eswatini, where there is a law that prohibits witches from flying above 490 feet on their broomsticks. It's written down. It's valid. It sounds like a joke, but it's true. But today we're not going there. Our destination is elsewhere, and perhaps even more eccentric. A country where the most expensive coffee in the world is made from animal poop and costs more than a lot of imported whiskey, where you eat the heart of a snake while it's still beating, where a chicken can be worth almost as much as a motorcycle, and where even the dead continue to work. Today, Bello Mundo takes you to Vietnam, and the next curiosities will take you by surprise. Number 1. Descendants of Dragons. To start this list, we go straight to the origin of the Vietnamese people. And no, it has nothing to do with history books, empires, colonization, or wars. Here, the explanation comes from elsewhere, a much more symbolic and mythological place. In Vietnam, there is a belief that spans generations, that the Vietnamese are direct descendants of a dragon king and a mountain fairy. And it's not just a story told by word of mouth. It's something that shapes the country's identity to this day. If you walk through the streets of Hanoi or any traditional city, you'll notice that dragons are everywhere. In statues, temples, on the facades of houses, on signs, on gates. They're not there by chance. They're telling a story of origin. According to legend, it all began with Lac Long Quan, a sea king, son of a dragon goddess, owner of the waters and mysteries of the ocean. On the other side was O Ko, an immortal fairy from the mountains, a healer connected to the earth, the wind, and the inland valleys. They fell in love, and from this union a bag with 100 eggs was born, 100. And from these eggs came 100 children, the first Vietnamese. However, the love between the sea and the mountains did not last forever. Over time, each began to miss their world. Ao Ko wanted to return to the mountains. Lac Long Quan wanted to return to the sea. They decided to separate, but without conflict. Each took 50 children, and thus the different regions of Vietnam emerged, half connected to the sea, half to the mountains. That is why, to this day, the Vietnamese refer to themselves as Children of the Dragon and the Fairy, a legend that mixes geography, mythology, and national identity, all in the same melting pot. Number 2. The most expensive chicken. Now that you know the legend of the dragon, it's time to talk about another dragon, except this one has feathers, a beak, and a pair of legs that look like they came out of a fantasy movie. In Vietnam, there is a breed of chicken called Dong Tao, better known as the dragon chicken. And when you see it, you immediately understand why. The feet are a sight to behold, thick, scaly, reddish, crooked, and muscular. Some breeders compare them to tree trunks. Males can weigh up to 6 kilograms, females weigh almost 5, and the price is out of this world. A Dong Tao can cost more than $2,000. Just to give you an idea, a Honda Wave Alpha, a low-powered motorcycle that is very common in Vietnam, costs about $800. In other words, a dragon chicken can easily be worth more than a brand new motorcycle. But why are they so expensive? It's the appearance, of course. Those absurd, scaly red feet that look like something out of a science fiction movie. But there's also the mystery factor. No one knows exactly where this breed came from. Some people believe it is an ancient cross between fighting cocks, bred for generations. Others say they are descendants of sacred birds, linked to the dragons that protect the villages, and there are even those who believe that the meat of these chickens has special properties. It gives strength, endurance, and vitality. What is known is that, for a long time, Dong Tao was exclusive to the elite. It was food for emperors, the main dish at noble wedding banquets, or served on very rare occasions. Today, it remains on the menu of the most luxurious restaurants in the country. And it's not just rare, it's complicated to raise. For starters, it lays few eggs, 60, 70 a year, at most. A common chicken easily lays over 200. And what it does lay is still at risk. The giant feet that attract so much attention are a serious problem when the female hatches. She can barely fit in the nest, and when she moves, she often breaks her own eggs. For this reason, breeders use artificial incubators or place the eggs to be hatched by chickens of other breeds. In other words, low production, high risk, and a market where each egg is worth its weight in gold. Number 3. Motorcycles. Since we're on the subject of motorcycles, we can't go on without diving into this universe that is simply the face of Vietnam. There, motorcycles are not just a means of transportation. They are a lifestyle. They are makeshift beds at the end of the workday, food counters at lunchtime, moving trucks, and even cribs for children. Everything happens on two wheels. With public transportation faltering in much of the country, motorcycles have become a symbol of freedom and practicality. It's no exaggeration to say that Vietnamese people live on them. Some people carry their entire family, a banana plantation, and a gas cylinder, all balanced with a skill that would make any circus tightrope walker jealous. The country has more than 75 million registered motorcycles, for a population of just over 100 million. In the metropolis of Ho Chi Minh alone, there are about 7 million motorcycles circulating among just over 8 million residents. That's almost one motorcycle per person, and that's not counting the ones that come from outside the city every day. And the most curious thing, until recently, no one cared about helmets. It was common to see a father, mother, 2 children, and even a mattress, all on the same motorcycle and without any protection. Today, helmets are required by law, but you only have to look at the streets to see that the rule is not always followed to the letter. Now, where there is chaotic traffic, there is stress, and where there is stress, there are fights, and of course, some unusual compliments. Number 4. Swearing with pedigree. Everywhere in the world, an argument in traffic is usually accompanied by some basic swearing. It's part of the package: honking, hands out the window, ugly faces, and that classic swear word. But in Vietnam, it's on another level. There, the target is rarely you. It's your mother, your father, your entire family tree. That's because, in Vietnamese culture, family is considered sacred. Honoring your parents, respecting your elders, worshiping your ancestors, all of this is taken very seriously. So when someone really wants to offend you, they don't go straight for the individual. They go for the foundation. They go where it hurts. Insults such as "Ju Ma Mei," which is something like telling someone to send their mother to that place, or "Thang Cho Jay," which means son of a bitch, are quite common, especially in big cities like Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh, where traffic is a battlefield on 2 wheels. There are motorcycles everywhere, people squeezing between cars, honking non-stop. And when someone takes a wrong turn, cuts someone off, or steps on the gas too hard, the vocabulary flies, and it flies heavy. And from chaotic traffic and compliments, we head to the interior of the country. More precisely to the Thai Nguyen region, the central plateau of Vietnam, where one of the most curious and traditional festivals in the country takes place: the elephant race. Number 5. Elephant Race. Every year, residents from various villages prepare for the event, and before the party, the elephants get a well-deserved rest. No work. They spend days eating at will: grass, papaya, corn, sweet potatoes, sugarcane. Only VIP treatment. The festival takes place in Don Village and attracts people from all over, dressed in traditional clothing and colorful sashes. The racetrack is 500 meters long, with space for up to 10 elephants to line up side by side. The start is a scene in itself. The elephants take their positions while the tuve, instruments made from horns, announce the start. Each animal is guided by 2 drivers, one in front, with an iron rod called a creo to set the pace, and another behind with a wooden hammer called a cock, which helps keep them on course. As soon as the signal is given, the elephants take off. Trunks swinging, the crowd shouting, drums and gongs ringing. It's a mixture of chaos, tradition, and adrenaline. At the end, the winner gets a crown of flowers, and the prize they want most, a pile of bananas and sugarcane. But the party doesn't end there. After the race, the pachyderms take part in other events: river crossings, tug-of-war, ball throwing, and even soccer matches. Yes, soccer, with elephants. Number 6. The most expensive coffee in the world. If there's one thing Vietnam understands, it's coffee. After Brazil, the country is the second largest exporter of coffee beans in the world. The drink arrived through French influence, but over the years it has gained its own identity and recipes that you won't find anywhere else. One of the most famous is coffee with egg. It may sound strange, but it's a tradition. It mixes Robusta coffee with beaten egg yolks, condensed milk, and sugar, forming a creamy foam that resembles a hot tiramisu. Different, but easy to love. But among all the inventions, there is one that stands out and divides opinions: weasel coffee, or sa fei shon. This exotic drink is made from beans that have been eaten by civets, small animals similar to weasels, digested and eliminated. That's right. The animal eats the beans, poops, someone collects them, washes them, and turns them into coffee. And the most unbelievable thing, a cup can cost up to $100. Some people swear that the flavor is smoother and fuller-bodied, but at the end of the day, it's poop coffee. And what's worse, it's often made in a cruel way. These animals are frequently captured in the wild, separated from their herds, and placed in cramped cages. There, they are forced to eat only coffee beans, which causes stress, malnutrition, and suffering, all to please the palates of a few consumers with money. Number 7. The narrowest houses on the planet. And since we're talking about things that only exist there, let's talk about Vietnamese houses, which look more like stacked shoeboxes. Seriously, in cities like Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh, there are houses less than 2 meters wide. They are called En Ha Ong, which means tube house, and the name makes perfect sense. The reason for this facade shape is the famous tax. During the French colonial period, property taxes were calculated based on the width of the facade facing the street. In other words, the wider the house, the more tax you paid. The solution was to build very narrow houses that extend backwards and upwards. Some are up to 12 stories high and over 100 meters deep. From the outside, they look impossible to live in, but inside they are ingeniously adapted. Number 8. A mummy that didn't want to be a mummy. Think famous mummies are only found in Egypt. Not at all. Vietnam also has its celebrities from beyond the grave, and one of them didn't even want to be one. The first is in the Vietnam History Museum in Ho Chi Minh City. It is the body of an aristocratic woman from the Nguyen dynasty named Tran Thi Hu. She was discovered in 1994 during an excavation in the district of Zom Kai. And the most impressive thing, she was almost intact. But the most controversial mummy in the country is undoubtedly that of Ho Chi Minh, the great Vietnamese revolutionary leader. And the controversy is simple. He asked to be cremated. He made this clear in his will. He wanted his ashes to be scattered across the hills of the country as a way to save land and maintain simplicity. However, the government had other plans. They thought it best to follow the Soviet model. They mummified the body, placed it in a giant mausoleum in Hanoi, and created a national pilgrimage site. Number 9. The dead continue to work. Still on the subject of those who have passed away, Vietnam has a belief that may seem unusual to many outsiders, but there it makes perfect sense. In many regions of the country, especially in rural areas, it is common to see graves in the middle of crops, especially in rice fields. This is not due to lack of space or improvisation. It is tradition. Many people believe that even after death, ancestors continue to work for their families. Burying loved ones on their own land is therefore a way of keeping them close, helping with the harvest, protecting the crops, and ensuring abundance. However, in addition to the spiritual aspect, there is also a practical side. As land ownership in Vietnam is shared or inherited, placing graves there is a way of reinforcing that the land has an owner, and an owner with deep ties. Families who bury their dead in the fields are unlikely to give up that land. And these graves are not abandoned. They are carefully tended, receiving flowers, incense, and offerings. Because for many Vietnamese, the dead are still present. They have just changed places. Number 10. Rituals and beliefs. And this bond with those who have passed away does not end with the burial. In Vietnam, death is the beginning of a new phase, and funeral rituals reflect this. They are steeped in tradition, spirituality, and symbolism. It all starts at home. If the house is large enough, the wake takes place there. Otherwise, a funeral home is chosen. The children wear white cloths on their heads and lean on walking sticks as if mourning had taken away their strength. Great-grandchildren wear yellow headbands. Visitors dress in black and carry flowers with ribbons and incense sticks, all according to the marital status and age of the deceased. Shortly before the funeral, a bowl of rice, salt, boiled egg, and water is placed next to the body. This is the last meal, offered to give the soul energy for its journey to the other world. On the way to the cemetery or the family rice field, small notes are scattered along the road. They form a spiritual map, guiding the soul back home. And when the body is buried in its own land, the tradition grows even stronger. The dead remain present, protecting and fertilizing the earth. But the funeral is only the beginning. For 49 days, the soul undergoes trials. During this time, the family prays, burns incense, prepares vegetarian banquets, and calls monks for rituals of passage. Longing also has its rhythm. The bereaved wear a black armband for a year. Widows and widowers traditionally mourn for up to 3 years. And what is marked on the calendar is not the birthday, but the day of death, always remembered with prayers and shared meals. In the 3rd year, the Kai Tang ritual takes place. The remains are exhumed, the bones washed and placed in a new location. Everything is done at night in winter with deep respect. And to ensure a good life in the afterlife, paper money is burned, nowadays even in the shape of cell phones or houses. Because in Vietnam, even the dead continue to be cared for, and in a way, they continue to live as well. Number 11. The country that eats everything that moves. In Vietnam, when it comes to food, the rule is clear. If it moves, it can become a dish. Snakes, rats, dogs, cats, bats, scorpions, larvae, insects, crabs the size of a frying pan. Nothing escapes. If it has meat, it has a chance of ending up in the pot. In popular markets, there are stalls that function as live butcher shops. You point to the animal, regardless of what it is, and it is prepared on the spot. No frills, no gourmet menu. It's what's for dinner today. And yes, many people see this type of food as an exotic or cruel challenge. After all, we are talking about animals that are domesticated by us Westerners. But for most Vietnamese, this is just an ordinary day. One of the most controversial cases, which went viral around the world, was snake heart. In certain villages, you can choose a live snake, watch it being slaughtered in front of you, and then drink a shot with its heart still beating. All this washed down with rice wine mixed with blood, bile, and venom, neutralized by alcohol. This practice has even become a tourist attraction. Chef Gordon Ramsay faced the ritual on a TV show. Anthony Bourdain did too. Both were visibly shocked, not only by the taste but by the act itself. If eating live snakes, driving with a gas cylinder on the back of your motorcycle, and burying your grandparents in rice paddies seems like something from another planet, maybe it's just because Vietnam is, in fact, a universe apart. And if there's one thing we can learn from this country, it's that the way we live and interact with each other can be much more diverse, profound, and surprising than we usually imagine. So, which of these curiosities shocked you the most? Comment below. Thank you very much for joining us, and see you next time.